Hey everybody, I'm Flux Ascension and I play Rhianwyn Halcyne, or Rhea for short, in the Final Chorus, the current campaign that the Phoenix Gaming Guild is streaming on Friday nights. Be sure to rejoin us after this recap on May 29th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'll get you caught up on Session 8, guys, all right? I do want to say really quick, if you like the way I'm editing these, let me know down in the comments below if you like when I cut in shots from the game, or if you prefer just me with the little screenshots of the dudes, and I'll put them up here on the screen. The other thing I want to say, if you like these videos, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel. That helps us out immensely, helps me know that you guys like watching these. If there's anything else you want to see, just, again, send us a message, put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond to everybody that comments. So let's get started on Session 8's session. How was I going to say Session 3? Oh my God. Session 8's recap. So before the tournament match began, Rhea had been messaging Theodore as he did not return to them as promised before the match. When he didn't come back, he responded with a very short reply, "Sorry, I cannot return, but what appears hot is actually cold." So, cryptic, but helpful. The moment the party stepped into the arena, Rhea pushed that message to all 5 of her teammates. In the arena, they found themselves facing Captain Brenner Holt, a man who had seen more battlefields than most of them had even seen classrooms. And this was a man who, as it turned out, was doing everything in his power not to hurt them. The fight opened with Holt putting Rune to sleep with a blowgun before the party could even blink. Then he drew his sword and moved into the arena and looked directly at Vosh. What followed was a brutal and carefully controlled performance. Captain Holt hit hard enough to be convincing, pulled his strikes back just enough to avoid killing anyone, and every time he had a clean opportunity to end the fight, he found a reason not to take it. Demo wanted to be sure about the lava.
I'm holding a bottle of perfume. I'm going to cast Moment to Think. I'm going to scooch over to the edge above this pit. I'm going to hold out my hand above the lava, and I'm going to let go of the perfume bottle.
Perception or investigation. As it falls into the lava, it went in, almost like a form of liquid. And the smoke that came out was very forced. But you know that lava is a very firm liquid. When it drops, it usually sticks on the top and then falls slowly. Turn your body towards Captain Bernard Holt. You see very subtle wink as he acknowledges what you saw.
The party didn't have a signal system. They didn't have time to put a plan together, but they had each other. And once Demo knew, the fight started to change. Leon used a moment to think mid-combat.
Leon can understand that he's trying to tell us something or trying to do something. Can he roll an insight to kind of see if he gets any clue into what Holt's thinking?
And you remember when he wants to hurt someone, he always makes sure is to have his thumbs directly up. And you look at his hands and both his thumbs are put down. He is not trying to hurt you guys.
It was training, or as close to training as you can get when the Lord of Kings is watching from above. Rhea messaged Holt directly, pretending to cast Hold Person to cover for it. She told him the lava wasn't hot, and he messaged back that he already knew that. But he couldn't really just jump in. So Vosh tore into Holt in bear form. Leon flanked, Demo used Gust of Wind to slow Holt's movement and inspired the party between strikes. Silas taunted Holt loudly enough to draw attention. Brock raged, and he grabbed Holt by the back of his collar and with every bit of strength he had threw him into the lava pit. Brenner Holt went flying in. A wave of smoke came up from the lava and the crowd went wild. When the arena went silent at a single snap of fingers, the Lord of Kings appeared directly in front of everyone. In the middle of the arena, within 10 feet, looking at each of them. He called them cheaters. He told Leon that real fighters don't hold back. He referenced Demo's history with the Tempest clerics in a way that made clear he had done his research on all of them. He told Rhea and Vosh that they had potential, which somehow was more unsettling. He made his way to the edge of the lava.
It's funny. You all think you have a choice, and now you throw a traitor into fake substance, an illusion, and he throws the rock in. A moment as he was speaking, like a snap happened, and as the rock goes in, it sits on the top and slowly begins to get dissolved as the real lava eats it, and he looks at it baffled and confused.
Looks real to me.
He turned and said,
I will. The winner of this tournament of this year will get to decide the fate of High Throne University.
He then signaled, and his administrators started handing coin pouches to the crowd. He called it generosity and walked out through the exit. As they made their way out of the arena, Rhea turned to Silas and Brock.
Thank you two for today. You were great out there, both of you.
Rhea, wait. Don't ask me how I know. But if you're going to Crown Home, a rumor might say that I have a way to teleport us there.
She'll nod and continue walking with the group.
Leon slung Rune over his shoulder, and they made their way across campus, heading for the docks. Back at the dorm, they talked through what the Lord of Kings had said about the tournament, about the Tempest Clerics, about potential. Demo said something that cut through all of it. Anybody who buys allegiance is afraid of something. During that, Voshk made cookies and tea, Leon sharpened his sword, and Rhea cleaned up after everyone had finished. And then there was a knock at the door. Brock walked in, holding Silas by the back of the neck. What followed was one of the most honest conversations that the party has had all year. Silas admitted he had been spying on them. He told them where he'd hidden spy devices on each of them. A clip behind Rhea's earring, a feather in Leon's armor, a stone in the lining of Voshk's pocket, and a string from Demo's loot, and a thread tied into the seam of Rune's pants. Leon burned his immediately with a firebolt. Then Silas pulled a letter from his pocket and handed it over. Leon read it aloud. It was addressed to Derek, written by the Lord of Kings. In it, he confirmed that the Archblade was his son, and he blamed Donis for convincing his son to sacrifice himself. And he demanded that if Derek ever left High Throne, he would take the dorm with him, because the dorm was the last piece of his son that the world still had. The silence after Leon finished reading said enough. Silas laid out what he knew and what he suspected. He believed neither the Archblade nor the last song had died in the final battle, that they were trapped somewhere, caught between the force of 5 power songs colliding at once. He said he had been spying because he didn't have a choice. Not with Myra's safety or Lyra's safety and Brock's life. He said he wanted to put their differences aside because the Lord of Kings is moving way too fast, and he didn't want to see what Minthendor looked like if the king got everything he wants. Then Silas reached into his pouch and set a small bag of rings on the table. Battlesong rings from Lyra. A linked messaging system, one for each of them, that would let them communicate across any plane and across any distance. He told them to attune to them all together at the same time. However, there was a catch. Some of them had been attuned previously, a contingent that Rhea informed the party wouldn't be easy to remove. Silas then said to meet him and the others in Frostmere before 4 a.m. They were going to Crown Home tonight. And before he left, Demo stopped him.
Silas, you know I meant everything I said to you into the arena. I believe that there's still good in you.
The reason I was so rude to you is because you were different. You were a challenge to me. Then you started mimicking my behaviors.
I've decided to be better than you. But I came to High Throne, and I found you as a bot, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be.
Demo, I won't dick to you because I don't want you to be anything like me. I don't want you to think you can be anything like me, because you're not.
But for now, we have shit to deal with. So I agree. Let's put the past behind us, even though my insults were legendary. And let's work together.
Before they departed, Vosh prepared several care packages just in case for each of them. The party began their trek to Frostmere, passing by the docks in the early hours of the morning. There, they found Theodore and Warden Phelan Crosswind, drinking quietly in remembrance of Holt. Not debriefing, not really grieving, just sitting with the weight of what had happened. Leon offered part of his cinnamon roll to Phelan without a word, and Phelan began sobbing. Theodore was on edge. He told the party to grieve in private because now his friend, Brenner Holt, would be remembered only as a traitor and not the war hero that he is. The party didn't stay long. They had somewhere to be.
You make your way into the city, and it is a decently busy city, but not for the good. It feels like a riot is beginning to stir. He was a traitor! Say that again, bitch! Going back and forth throughout the entire street, you hear talks of siding with the Lord of Kings and talks of the truth, at least in our perspective.
The party didn't linger. Finally, they found the crown jewels at the fountain. 5 of them anyway. Silas, Brock, Ronan, Zephyr, and Lyra. Silas led them into a back alley, down a set of steps, and to a crack in the wall at the base of the cliffside. He used a pearl, a feather, and 2 copper coins held to his ears to open a portal at the exact moment moonlight hit the stone. They stepped into a narrow passage and pushed through into cold air and came out to the other side in the Feywild, specifically the Winter Court. Snow up to their knees, with every step a storm blowing from every direction at once, and visibility dropping to almost nothing within seconds. Brock ended up carrying Voshk, who was slowing down badly in the way that lizard folk do in the cold. Demo sang quietly behind Leon just to stay anchored to the group. The light of the exit began to glow ahead of them, large and bright, and then a growl sounded from somewhere in the whirling white storm, and Voshk started fading fast. Not from the cold, not from the fight. Something about the Feywild specifically was pulling him under. By the time the rest of the party realized how serious it was, he was barely breathing. And that's where we left the party, knee-deep in Feywild snow, the exit in sight, and Vosh beginning to take his final breaths. Find out what happens when we rise next week. We are the Phoenix Gaming Guild. This is the final chorus. See you at the table.